guys, what's up? We're under our 10th lecture and video here for the CCENT slash ICND 100-105, the ICND1 for short. We're on lecture and lesson 10, as I said. So here we're going to be focused on subnet mask and CIDR. Call it CIDR notation usually, but CIDR. We're familiar with the subnet mask, or you should be throughout this course. You've seen it enough that we're going to be mostly looking at CIDR here. So, without further ado, let's get into it a little bit here. I'm going to take that off. Let's put in the webcam. Alright, and we should be ready to rock and roll. So, alright, let's move over to the screen. We're going over to my monitor 1. So, this is more familiar outlook. Our IP address is 192.168.10.1. And let's say our subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. We would represent this in CIDR notation with the IP address and then a /24 is what they call the CIDR. As you can see, this is a little bit easier and a little bit neater, as you will find these in the routing tables and routers. And even some of the layer 3 switches. But when you punch in something in your, or what you mostly see in the early days, or even on PC still today, as far as at least in Windows 7, and I believe it's still in Windows 10, is we will have something to this effect. So we're in my PC, IP config all. So let's go up here to my very top. So as we can see, we got a 192 for our IP version 4 address, 192.168.10.4, and below it displays the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. So technically, if Windows wanted to, they could get rid of that subnet mask and actually use CIDR notation and have a one less line for visual. But Windows still displays it as a subnet mask, which is fine. What I want you to understand is that CIDR and subnet mask are the exact same thing. They're just two different ways to list it. See this /24, just note it is considered CIDR, but it's the same thing as a subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Now if this is a 240 in a subnet mask, this would make this a 28. And what that means, there's 28 bits in the network portion. And if we go back to this, this is 24 bits in the network portion, as there's 8 bits in here, 8 bits in this octet, 8 bits in this octet. 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 24. And this is the host section. So you might have a question in this form, and you need to know it for your ICND1 and your CCNA, and it's equivalent to this. They will throw both of them on to you to learn both. So you must understand and learn both of those. So moving on, I've got my GNS3. I don't think everything's up, but I want to show you where you will see CIDR. So we're going to see if I can get into my router. Hopefully this project's been configured to a certain extent, and hopefully I'm getting into this router very soon. As you can see, it's a 3725. Waiting for it to come up here. It's getting there. It's actually starting to come up just now, so we timing it just about right. If I can get some enter, there we go. It's a little bit slow. As you can see, everything's kind of maxing out over here, and it doesn't look like I've got anything configured on this. So I'm seeing if I got any IP routes listed. I do not. So this might not work. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pull up, let's pull up another project that I know. Trying to think. I think that one's mostly, I'm trying to find one that doesn't have as much to load. So let's take a look at some of these. Sorry guys, it's going to take me a second here as it loads. Okay, that is not what I want either. So we're going to probably, let's do one from scratch. I'm going to do one from scratch, and as we talk, we will I will move over this and let them boot up. So what we're going to do, we're going to throw two routers in there. What I want you to do is see that it's, you know what? All I need, yeah, is 2 routers, so I actually won't have to configure that much. We're going to use 3725s for this scenario. I'm just going to interconnect them both, and that'll be it. And then we're going to start them up, and we'll let them get started, and it'll take it a few minutes to get going. So what I want you to see is that, all right, if we convert this, as I said, this is 24 bits, which is equivalent to this. So what makes these identical? They're 2 different forms. So how do I have the right to say that, hey, this subnet mask, take these off or out, so I think it's a little bit warm for me, but how do I have the right to say that this is the same but 2 different forms? Alright, that's simple. Let's drop this down. I'm going to have the CIDR notation down here, and let's have the subnet mask down here. So what's the binary? We're going to say the subnet mask in binary. We know it's 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. This is the subnet mask in binary. So in CIDR, oh, spelled it wrong. So /24 equals 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24, and then the rest are going to be zeros. So they're identical. In CIDR 24 or /24, we're representing the bits that are represented with 1 in a subnet mask. The network portion. So /24 represents the network portion, but the network portion in a subnet is the exact same thing as saying all ones. It's the same thing. Subnet mask, all ones represent the network portion. /24, they might say represents the network portion, but in reality it's the exact same thing as saying it's equal to the subnet mask with the 1 instead of the 0. Now you must understand that both do represent the network portion regardless. So, but they're the same thing. They're identical. That's what I want you to understand. So if I converted out this and I wanted to figure out my CIDR notation, or vice versa, I wanted to know what my CIDR equaled in subnet mask and I couldn't do it quickly in my head. For example, I know 240 is /28, but let's say you couldn't do it in your head. You write out your subnet mask, and then for CIDR, all you do is count out how many ones you got. Let's do one a little bit tougher. So we're going to keep this here. We're going to do CIDR, and we're going to leave that there. Let's just take all this out for now. We're going to leave the subnet mask, but let's make it a 240 this time. And we don't know, let's say we don't know what our CIDR equals at this point. This is 255.255.255.0, but we got to change this right here. And what it is we're going to have a 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 will give us 240. And we can show that by simply doing it this way. 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 equals 240 in our calculator. And that means the host bits, or the last 4 bits, are going to be host. So if I count this, this is 8, another 8, so 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 more to the 16 is 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So CIDR would be /28 in this scenario. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. There's 28 ones in here. So CIDR would be /28. That is what CIDR is. So CIDR and subnet mask are the exact same thing. That is what I want you to understand. So no matter what I do, let's say for example, in CIDR, let's do a backwards convert. Let's say in CIDR, you have a /16. Or you know what? No, we don't want to do anything that. Let's say /13. So we got a /13 in CIDR. So that would be 13 ones for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that is what it looks like in binary, and we can just take and convert this. So the subnet mask is what, 255.128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16. We know that is 240 plus 8 is going to give us 248. So it would be 248.0.0. This would be our subnet mask for a /13 CIDR. And we can make sure of this by bringing up the calculator. And I can do 248 and convert it to binary. And we get 5 binary ones followed by 3, which is this portion, and that would be correct. So that's how we convert CIDR to subnet mask. If you convert it down to binary, which we say that's what it equals, but actually, you know, the binary portion would match. Would be identical. So they're identical. What you need to understand, they're identical in binary. They're just two different ways to write it. So get used to that a little bit. And then now we're going to look at a, hopefully we got both of these going, which we do. And let's see if we can show IP route show. I'm not getting anything I know right now, so you can see this is a fresh configuration. So I'm going to do something really quick. And then on this one, I am on that one. Oops. And we will talk about commands soon, so you'll see this actually become quicker than this. So what I want to do is I want to show you this fast Ethernet. So let's get a little bit of something else going here. We're going to configure 5, and let's do it like this. So that is our IP address there. Alright, show IP route. Let's see if we get anything now. Okay, so we get something in. Now this is where I want you guys to see, is that right here we have a CIDR notation in our routing table. Even though we don't have a routing protocol enabled, you will see this will get a lot larger and you will see it in the course. But so in a router, we will actually see, you can hear my PC, I'm sorry that it's loud, it's part of it's the VMware and I need to dust it out a little bit. But as you can see, the CIDR notation is listed in the routing table right here, and now this is a IP address that we confirm. Only reason we know this is from this command up here. We put in the subnet mask, but it converts it into CIDR notation, so you will have to know both. I cannot put in an IP address of /24. So let's go to, I'm going to go back into interface fast Ethernet 00 IP address, and I want you to see what happens when I try to do that. See, and if I do /24, invalid input, so I cannot do that. So I have to list it as a subnet mask, as you can see right here, the IP subnet mask. And I can't do it here either. It won't accept it. But on the routing table, it automatically converts it for visual sake, because if you start getting a whole bunch, it would just crowd the routing table in my opinion. So it's really nice that it converts it into CIDR notation like this. Now I can show you And I'm going to show you IP. Let's see if it gives me IP ERGRP interface brief. I'm going to just show you guys that we'll just do interfaces, as I'm not running any protocol or routing protocol on here, and you'll learn about these also over time. Show database, and then show OSPF database, the same thing, and show IP. What is the other one? So we can see that I'm not running basically any routing protocols, and we can do show run pap begin interface, or I tell you what, begin interface. Yeah, that ain't gonna work, so it's gonna have to be up. There it goes. Okay, it did. Alright, so let's go back up here. Alright, here's our begin. So here's where we got to run. We did it at show interfaces, and below in our run configuration we can see there's no routing protocols on any of these, and we'll do a show run full to show you guys that I'm not running OSPF or EIGRP or RIP or ISF or any routing type protocol or even any static routes at this point. Nothing, as we can see, is going. Only an IP address on interface 0, and the same for router 1 here. We'll exit out of router 2 to see nothing is different here in router 1. No routing protocol is being ran, just an IP address. And even if there was, you would see a better information, but basically it's a routing table and CIDR notation. So note at your PC, as we see here, some things are going to list it as a subnet mask, is like right here. But routers, for example, on the routing table, is going to show it as CIDR, but it's the same thing as saying 10.0.0.0 with a 255.255.255.0 subnet mask. They are the same, basically. There's no difference as far as that, as in they're the same. And it can tell we're directly connected by 10.1.1.0 in there. So there's an example of both. So I want you to understand this. The subnet mask and CIDR is the same. All you have to do is to learn it is by converting them both to binary. CIDR, you just count the number of ones that you have, which represents the network portion, which you should find in the subnetting section, explain that better. And vice versa, if you do CIDR, you just put in 13 ones, and then the rest 0 until you fill your octets, and then you can convert it into decimal to get your subnet mask. And you count the ones in CIDR to determine the slash numerical value. So I hope this video, guys, has been a benefit to you, and it helps you clarify how CIDR notation works. If you enjoyed the video, or if it's became of help to you and help you understand and prep for your exam, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, guys, I see you in the next video. Take care and keep learning, guys. Peace.